Hi, Mathias here, and welcome to 5 essential Logic Pro features for instant music production speed. Right, so the first thing you want to do when you boot up Logic Pro is activate the advanced features so you can gain access to a lot of helpful tools to improve the speed of working in Logic Pro. So first out we go to Logic Pro, Settings and the Advanced tab, and make sure you enable the complete feature set. Right, so tip number 1, we're gonna improve the control bar of Logic Pro because it currently don't give us a lot of information. So go up to this little arrow and expand and activate custom. And as you can see, we get plenty more features here in the control bar. Now we can see things like CPU load, so we can just make a double click on CPU here and see a performance meter and see how the processing threads behave when we play back a track. And we also get to see the MIDI inputs and outputs and the actual MIDI data, which is really essential if you're debugging your MIDI controller and want to see maybe what kind of MIDI data some of the knobs or faders on your MIDI controller output. And as you can see, if we move a fader on the MIDI controller, we can see it sends MIDI controller 1, and we also get to see the value. And if we play something on the keyboard, we can see the actual MIDI notes. Right, so tip number 2, note chase. If you have an arrangement like this with long sustaining notes, you're not going to be able to play back in the middle of the notes. You're not going to hear anything. But of course there's a quick fix. You can press Command P or Alt P, and we go to the MIDI tab, chase, and activate the notes sustained. And that means that we can play back in the middle of sustained notes. And note chase will definitely speed up your workflow if you're working on ambient music and stuff. Okay, so quick break to talk about today's video sponsor, DistroKid. DistroKid makes it easy and convenient to get your music up to all the relevant streaming platforms like Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, plus many more. Personally, I've been using DistroKid for all my streaming releases for the past decade. You pay once a year and then you can upload an unlimited amount of tracks. Okay, so if you have music you want to release on streaming platforms, use my DistroKid affiliate link in the description. Not only do you support my channel, but you also get a discount on the DistroKid subscription. Thanks. Okay, tip number 3, quick access to track instruments and plugins. So it's a little bit tedious to always go into the inspector panel or information panel and press the instruments to gain access to the instruments. But in Logic Pro there's actually a quicker way of gaining access to these tools. You can hold Command and double click above the track header. So here we can see the piano, we can open the Vital Synth, and on an audio track we open the EQ. Now we'll just close the inspector panel and get a larger, more beautiful overview of our track. Tip number 4, low latency monitoring. If you're adding tons of demanding plugins like linear phase EQs and limiters, you're going to introduce a lot of latency into your projects. And that's when you want to activate the low latency mode. And if you want to record things like guitar and vocals, you're going to hear a lot of latency when you record. And that's when you want to activate the low latency recording, because then you can record with the lowest amount of latency and get a great performance. Okay, so let's find the low latency mode. Go up to the control bar and in the empty gray area, make a right click and select Customize Control Bar and Display. Under Modes and Functions, we activate the low latency monitoring mode. And now we gain this little like speed meter. Now we can activate and deactivate the low latency mode. Let's keep it deactivated and look at the master bus. We have Fat Effects, Linear EQ and Limiter, which will introduce plenty of latency. And now let's activate the low latency mode. So it's much easier to play tight and get a good performance with the low latency mode activated. So don't miss out on this excellent feature. Okay, finally tip number 5, we're going to look at the marquee tool and the fade tool, click zones. By default, when editing in Logic Pro, you're going to jump between these different tools to be able to like chop the audio or make fades on the different regions. But you can go into Logic Pro settings and general and go to the editing tab and activate the fade tool click zones and marquee tool click zones. So first out, we can now hover above the left top side or right top side and gain access to the fade tool, so we can like a fade symbol like this. And we can also shop audio very easily by hovering above the lower side of a region and just make a drag like this and click on the top area. Bam! We shop the audio. And now we can extract that and move those things around. And now it's going to be super quick to make edits in the Logic Pro and shop the audio. Get rid of some parts. Okay, so that's my 5 essential tips to improve your workflow in Logic Pro. Please let me know in the comments what you think about these tips and if you want to see more about these essential tips for Logic Pro. If you want to learn more everything Logic, check out my courses at edu.modumedia.com. See you in the next video. Bye!